Today we're going to be working on a Lapidary Dustbox with a water drip system. Now when you look at these online, they're actually quite expensive. So today we're actually going to build one for about 60 bucks, which is not a bad deal at all, considering what this thing can do. So let's get to it. I'll show you all the materials and then we'll start building. So the most important thing you're going to need is a 30-gallon clear plastic tub. Make sure it's tough because if a rock goes flying or you end up dropping it, you obviously don't want your investment to break. You're also going to need an 8x10 plexiglass sheet. You're going to need a closet flange spacer, 2 of them. And you're going to need some E6000 because it is both durable and waterproof. So the first thing you're going to want to do is trace out where you want your plexiglass window to be. I just used a basic Sharpie for this. And then we want to measure a 1/2 inch from the edge to leave some area to glue. This area is going to have the glue, and this area we're going to cut out and remove. You're also going to want to measure a good spot for your armholes to go in. Make sure you guys are wearing the proper safety gear when you decide to cut. And for this, I'm going to use a diamond cutting bit. Now when you're cutting out the armholes, don't worry about being exactly on the line because we're actually going to widen these holes later anyways. Now we're going to need to mark 4 holes for the screws to go through. I drilled holes in the plastic that were exactly the same size as the screw because I think any force from the screw is actually going to break this plastic. And I drilled a pilot hole in the wood I'm going to stick behind it that's a little bit smaller than the screw so that it actually sticks to the wood but it doesn't split the wood either. Which is hopefully my goal. We'll go ahead here. Just start this a little bit by hand, and then punch it the rest of the way. Seems to be working like we want it to. Good. Now it's going to work real good. We need to take care of the sharp edge first. So I'm going to back these out. So in order to widen the holes and cut down on the sharp bits, we're going to be using this sandstone bit. This is real comfortable. There's no sharp edges here. Nothing's hurting me. Looks good. My one concern now is I need to cut these screws. That shouldn't be too hard. We got some metal cutting bits. Let's get to it. Now let's go ahead and glue in our plexiglass window. Now I had an extra window in back so I could record through it with my camera, but the procedure is pretty much the same. Squeeze out the air bubbles. Make sure you add some weight to the top. Now I actually wedged some stuff in there for extra pressure and it worked very well. Now, while your glue is drying from your windows, it's a good time to build your water drip system. Now, this is a very simple setup. You take a 5-gallon bucket, you drill a hole in it that's the exact same size as the tubing you're going to put in there. Use some E6000 to hold it in, make sure it cures for a good 72 hours. And then this runs to a little teeny valve that actually hooks up to that size of tubing. Now, you can find these at most hardware stores, and honestly, all these parts right here cost, a few bucks. It's pretty inexpensive. So all I did, after gluing this thing and screwing these in, see there's both windows there. So I went ahead and mounted this above it. I drilled a hole in the corner to fit the tool into it. And then my drip hose actually has threads on it. So I just drilled a hole that was slightly smaller than the screw threads on this thing, and just screwed it right into the top, and now there's water dripping in there. It's pretty easy. So this runs up over that, and then up into the rafters where I have a bucket. So this all carries by gravity down to here. Just make sure that bucket's filled up. Then I have a waste bucket if I need to dump stuff out. I'm gonna go ahead and stick a tray or a pan in here to work in that's allowed to fill up with water. But yeah, that's it. That's a dust box. All the dust, most of it's going to be wet, but anything that does splatter is not going to go into the rest of the room or in any insulation or anything or drywall. So there it is. Ta-da! And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.